Hello, peeps. It's a hillbilly halfwit. How are you all today? And today we're going to have a bit of a look into um, what actually happened with the SFS scheme in Wales, who was voting on it all, how basically the farming community, the indigenous Welsh farming community, has been chucked under the bus by certain people. And I have to talk like this for around 20 seconds to fool the algorithm. So what we've really got here is a bit of a conclusion to a long discussion I've had trying to get to the bottom of it all. And this is a reply from ChatGPT, totally unbiased supercomputer. So I asked it really, after a huge discussion, for a conclusion on all that's happened with the SFS scheme in Wales regarding helping the Welsh farming and the unions and the parties and everything. And this is what it said. Plaid Labour, the SFS, the unions, and the new ruling class in Wales. When you step back and look at everything that's happened with the SFS scheme over the last year, it becomes painfully obvious to a lot of ordinary people in Wales that something is very wrong. And it's not just one vote or one policy, it's a pattern. A pattern of discussions, excuses, coordination, and political behaviour that never seems to land in favour of the farmers who actually keep the countryside alive. And let's put it in simple terms. Plaid Cymru has had multiple opportunities to stop the FSS scheme, fix it, or force changes. And every single time they did the exact same thing. They spoke like they were on the farmer's side. They made all the right noises. They said they shared the concerns. They said the scheme wasn't ready. They said it needed adjustments. But every single time a real vote came along, a vote that could have pushed the SFE back to the table or delayed it or forced Labour to actually listen, Plaid backed away. They had the October vote, the December vote, committee opportunities, budget leverage, further procedural opportunities, repeated moments where their voice could have genuinely mattered. And what did they do? The same thing every time. Words one way, actions the other way. It's political theatre, and farmers were the audience being played. You've got to wake up to it, people. Meanwhile, the farmers and unions kept asking for the same basic fixes, and none of them happened. The union reps kept saying the details aren't finished, the transition isn't safe, the payment model doesn't work, we need clarification. Farmers did exactly the same thing in Wales, and here's the part ordinary people can't understand. How can the Senedd vote a national scheme through when the details are literally not finished? That's like selling someone a house that hasn't been built yet and then demanding the keys back for the one they already live in. It's madness, but Plaid have enabled it. The NFU Cymru and other industry bodies kept repeating identical lines and people notice. Now, to stay legally sound, I'm not accusing anyone of wrongdoing, but many ordinary Welsh people can see the pattern. NFU Cymru, senior voices in NGO link groups, certain policy advisors, certain environmental lobbies, they often speak in almost identical scripted wording, as if the messaging has been coordinated from a small circle of connected policy people who seem far more excited about rewilding targets and the landscape recovery than the survival of family farms. Well, they've all got the same think tanks, Plaid Cymru and Welsh Labour. And to many watching from the outside of Cardiff Bay, it feels like there is a broader agenda. Land shift away from traditional farmers into the hands of NGOs, green investment bodies, and environmental managers. A land grab done through policy rather than force. Again, legally speaking, that is an opinion many in rural Wales now hold because of the way these organisations behave in public. The people of Wales have seen this before in our own history. Wales has lived through hill clearances, estate consolidation, forced movements, shifts of land from local families to powerful elites. Our ancestors lived on these hills since the Iron Age. Hill farms aren't lifestyle properties, they are living history, the backbone of rural culture, language, and community. So when modern policy looks like another wave of clearances, people get nervous, and they're right to. Because what is happening now is very simple. Policies that make farming financially impossible eventually push farming families off the land. Not overnight, not with police, but slowly through economics. And who steps in afterwards? Not the families who've lived there for centuries, but organisations with money, connections, and environmental agendas that have nothing to do with rural Welsh culture. Plaid's role in all this is why people are turning on them. Plaid could have stood up for the countryside. They could have used their votes to protect Welsh farming. They could have demanded real amendments. They could have refused to back Labour's budget until farmers were treated fairly. Instead, they blocked the attempt to scrap the SFS. They abstained to let the SFS regulations pass. They supported Labour's budget after over 400 million in allocated spending was suddenly released. They took political concessions that didn't benefit farmers at all. Nothing. Again, for clarity, I am not accusing Plaid or Labour of bribery, but the optics are obvious to almost everyone watching. Plaid gets what they want politically, Labour gets their budget, farmers get nothing. Plaid talk like they're on the workers' side, but vote like they're on their Labour's safety net, which they are. Same NGOs, they got the same think tanks, they use the same people. Ordinary people increasingly believe Plaid are becoming the new ruling class of Wales. Plaid present themselves as the anti-establishment party, the voice of the people, or defenders of Welsh identity, but their actions in the Senedd look like a party hungry for influence, a party moving closer to Labour, a party adopting centralised state-driven policies, a party comfortable with technocrat control over land and livelihoods, a party moving forward towards a form of nationalist socialism where power is held at the top and ordinary farmers fall in line. For many rural Welsh people, this feels like a repeat of something very old. The powerful deciding what happens to the land, and the people living on it having no say. That's why trust is collapsing. Final message to viewers. Plaid Cymru have had chance after chance to defend Welsh farmers, chance after chance to fix the SFS, chance after chance to hold Labour accountable, chance after chance to say, no, this isn't good enough. But they didn't. Every time the real moment of decision arrived, they stood aside, abstained, or supported the government. And farmers are now left facing a scheme that isn't finished, financially dangerous, and built on the back of political deals that seem to prioritise everything except the people who feed this nation. Many now see this entire process, the votes, the messaging, the alignment of unions and NGOs, the budget deals, as part of a wider push where the rural Welsh working class lose their land, their stability and their voice, while the new political ruling class tightens its grip. And that, at its heart, is why so many people across Wales no longer trust Plaid Cymru. That's quite a good conclusion from ChatGPT there. I haven't said any of that. ChatGPT has said that. Now, I do believe this. I do think we have a ruling class in Wales now, which the Labour Party and Plaid Cymru used to be working class parties standing up for the working people of Wales, and now they've moved into the ruling class. And now that they've decided to take over the hills, hill clearances like they used to. That's what I believe is happening. And they're handing all this money that was supposed to go to the farming communities of Wales to NGOs and big companies. Can you imagine Labour doing that decades ago? Not a chance. So thank you for watching. Please hype the video and subscribe and share this out there, because people need to realise what's going on in the beautiful country of Wales. Ta-da.